Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is still repeating this massive top signal in the price chart, as the price is now running into the final significant level of support that we need to pay attention to. This is what happened last time, so in just a moment I'll be talking about this alongside the Bitcoin dominance continuing to play out the short-term bullish divergence, which is not great for altcoins while this is happening. Of course, Ethereum is now retesting this crucial area of support on the price chart alongside XRP, also about to retest this important area of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. But on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have that bearish divergence, which with the latest weekly candle close officially reconfirmed again, with of course a new higher high in the price and a lower high confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. So ultimately, this is telling us that we're losing bullish momentum, slowing down on the larger time frames, quite possibly in for either a larger sideways consolidation or potentially a bit more of a drawdown within the next 1 to 2 months. So keep that in mind. This is talking about the larger time frames, not just the short-term price action. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously right now we're still seeing very similar price action to what we saw basically the end of 2024 entering into early this year. And now obviously just because something happened last time, it does not guarantee we're going to see the exact same thing again this time, but it is still possible we could see at least something similar. Maybe not the exact same, but something similar could be a likely scenario. So based on what we saw last time, this is suggesting maybe a bit more of a sideways consolidation in the shorter term for the coming days, maybe another week or so based on what we saw back here, and then possibly a bit more of a pullback or drawdown in the price of Bitcoin within the next month or 1 to 2 months. And that possible larger pullback in the price of Bitcoin moving forward really depends on if we continue to hold this crucial level of support here, which so far has been acting as important support for the price of Bitcoin since basically around June this year onwards. We've seen many important bounces from this ascending line of support, and we can see that this line of support is looking very, very similar to what we saw back here. Once again, end of 2024 entering into early 2025, very similar price action to what we're seeing right now. And so obviously the signal that we saw last time that we're gonna go a decent bit lower was of course a confirmed break below this line of support. Now obviously this time around we've not yet seen a confirmed break below that line of support, which means at least for now obviously we're still finding support in this area, so we've not yet actually confirmed that larger pullback. But this is definitely a level to keep an eye on, because if we lose this support, and especially if we start breaking below some of these previous lows here, that's a very strong signal telling us that we're in for a larger correction for the price of Bitcoin that will likely last at least a period of weeks, possibly longer, possibly another 1 or 2 months, but at least a potential pullback over a period of weeks could be very, very likely if we first confirm a break. I want to make this clear: if we first confirm a break with at least a daily candle close below this line of support, and ideally below a previous low, to actually confirm that bearish scenario. And in case you're wondering, this line of support for the price of Bitcoin is currently sitting at almost 110,000, around 109k to 110k. So especially if we see a daily candle close below 109,000, and especially once again below one of these previous lows here, so if we start breaking below, let's just say 108,000, it will become clear that we're in for potentially a larger correction in the price of Bitcoin, somewhat similar to what we saw last time. Obviously not the exact same, but something similar could be likely. But remember, what we saw last time before that break was ultimately a bit more of a sideways consolidation. So right now, considering we're still holding this support as support for the price of Bitcoin, it is still quite likely that just in the short term, we'll continue bouncing around relatively sideways, which is basically what I've been saying every day since after that crash right here, that flash crash onwards. I've been saying expect some choppy sideways price action. Obviously, we did see a decent bounce towards the upside, but ultimately came back down to continue choppy sideways price action. And so like I said, all the way back then and every day since then, this is what I expect moving forward, and will likely continue at least over the next few days, maybe another week or so. And once again, that's still showing very similar price action to what we saw last time back here. And so overall, those are the important levels on the price chart that I'm paying attention to, and of course could possibly open up to a trading opportunity. For example, if we confirm a break below this line of support, once again, we've not yet confirmed that, but if we confirm a break below the line of support, that could possibly open up a short position opportunity to short a bearish movement. Or if you're simply a spot trader, of course, you could wait for potentially some lower prices in order to buy Bitcoin at some cheaper prices. But once again, I want to make this extra clear that potential larger pullback right here is not currently confirmed at all, because we've not yet confirmed a break below the line of support. So for now, technically, we're still kind of trending upwards in terms of this larger price structure here, still forming these higher lows. It's only if we lose this line of support with candle closes below the line of support, and especially below a low, it's only in that situation, once we see that start to play out, expect a continuation of that bearish move, at least over a period of weeks, is what I'm saying. But ultimately, just in the short term, once again, for the next few days or so, expect a bit more of a sideways consolidation as a very likely scenario, as I've already been saying. So ultimately, that is my prediction moving forward and the key things to watch out for on the price chart. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, looking at the last 1 week worth of price action, we can see that we have a small amount of liquidity building below the price at roughly 109,000 and slightly above 109,000, but most of the liquidity in the short term is at around 116,000 to 116,500, which means it's possible we could actually bounce back up towards that liquidity to wipe out those positions there. And of course, that would still be in line with choppy sideways price action, because if, for example, we come back up towards these highs to wipe out those positions right there, wipe out that liquidity, and if, for example, we find some resistance around that area, it's possible, once again, we could come back down to just continue a bit more of a sideways consolidation. Once again, very similar to what we saw around February this year. And of course, if you want to be prepared to take these trading opportunities as soon as they happen, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I take a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, you can claim up to 120,000 USDT out of a prize pool for trading bonuses just by trading crypto using that link. And on top of that, there's deposit bonuses. For example, if you deposit as little as $100, you get a $20 bonus, or if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. Basically free money from the exchange just by depositing crypto using that link. But unfortunately, if you don't use that link, you can't claim any of these bonuses here. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link below the video. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you could also claim massive trading bonuses. For example, up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stablecoins just by depositing and trading crypto using the link below the video to 2bit. And on top of that, without making any deposits or any trades, you can claim a free $30 sign up bonus and 1 month free VIP 3 upgrade. So basically very cheap trading fees over on 2bit and a sign up bonus, free money from the exchange just by simply making an account using that link below the video, the second link below the video to 2bit. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well get set up ready to go using the links to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, yes, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and of course, obviously a few days ago, we saw that rejection from this area of resistance. But like I've been saying, just over the last 1 to 2 days, despite seeing that rejection from this resistance, technically we still have an active bullish divergence on the daily and also on the 3-day time frame for the Bitcoin dominance. And so obviously running into this resistance caused that short-term rejection, which was potentially a temporary setback in the Bitcoin dominance. But because the bullish divergence is still active, ultimately it is still quite likely we'll continue a bit more of a bullish relief and possibly even another test of that resistance within the coming days or weeks. And so obviously, while we saw that rejection just a few days ago, while that was happening in the short term with that rebound in the crypto market after the flash crash, a lot of altcoins obviously bounced a lot harder than Bitcoin due to the fact that we were rejecting in the Bitcoin dominance. But now that we're potentially back on track with playing out the bullish divergence, already played out that rejection here and now potentially starting another bit of a bullish relief here in the Bitcoin dominance, it is quite likely that Bitcoin could be outperforming a lot of the altcoin market. Obviously, there's always outliers. There can be some altcoins still outperforming Bitcoin if the Bitcoin dominance is bullish, but overall, if we're seeing a bit more of a bullish relief, which is quite likely in the Bitcoin dominance, expect a lot of the major altcoins on average to at least slightly underperform Bitcoin, do a bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, right now the price of ETH is once again retesting this important area of support here, sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And obviously we've not yet actually confirmed a 3-day candle close below this area, which means for now it is still acting as support. But if of course we confirm a 3-day candle close below 3.9k, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, flipping it into new resistance, in that situation that'd be extremely bearish on the larger time frames for Ethereum, not just talking about short-term moves. And so if we actually see a confirmed break below that area, it's extremely likely we'll retest this candle wick low for the flash crash at roughly 3,500 USD, at least on this Coinbase chart right here. That's where the low was, once again 3.5k. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, technically speaking, despite this current short-term pullback, we still have an active bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which means overall we can still play out a bit more of a bullish relief, or at worst maybe a sideways consolidation. Obviously the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence, not guarantees, but the most common outcomes, the most likely outcomes, are either just a sideways consolidation or a bit of a bullish relief as very likely outcomes. But obviously if, for example, we play out a sideways consolidation, that consists of short-term bullish and short-term bearish price action, ultimately bouncing around sideways. And once again, even if we play out a bullish relief, it's not going to be a straight line like this. So a little pullback like this is very normal to see, even while we're playing out the bullish divergence. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term here on the 8-hour time frame, we actually just saw a break back below this area again. So first of all, over the last one day, we broke out back above the area, now breaking back below the area. So it's clear that this area on the price chart in between around 40.60 to 4.1k is now effectively losing relevance. Previously, it was important support and a bit of resistance right here, but now obviously it's not as important of an area on the price chart. But what is still an important area to watch out for is this area of resistance, which we perfectly rejected from, and I've been talking about this area since before we perfectly rejected from that area, and that's sitting in between around 42.50 to 42.80. And if the price of ETH eventually breaks out back above that area, in that situation we have more resistance at 44.50 to 4.5k and major resistance at around 46.80 to 47.20. And as for short-term support, I would expect a bit of support around this previous low right here, sitting at just under 4,000, around 39.70 for example, or if we're looking at the candle wick low around 3.9k, which obviously aligns with this area of support in between 3.9k to 4.1k. And considering it's quite likely that Bitcoin will continue to play out a bit more of a sideways consolidation in the shorter term, it's likely that Ethereum could play out something similar just in the short term, kind of just bouncing around relatively sideways, which also aligns with the bullish divergence as one of the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, obviously right now we're retesting this area of support again after we just broke out back above the area, and that's sitting in between around 190 to 200. So this is still a crucial area on the price chart to watch out for, and at least so far as of recording the video, still currently acting as support. And obviously we need a hold above this area in terms of the price structure, because if we start breaking back below that area, it's extremely likely it would come back down towards these lows again at roughly $170. At around 170, we still have a lot of support around there, but obviously for now, still pay attention to 190 to 200 as the immediate support that we are currently testing. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour Solana price chart, when it comes to resistance, obviously we have a lot of resistance at close to 210, so around $209 to $210, give or take. Expect a lot of short-term resistance around there. We have just seen multiple rejections from roughly $209, and above that area, expect more resistance at around 217 to 218, and more resistance at roughly 230. And obviously, in terms of short-term price action, Solana, along with a lot of the major altcoins, will likely play out something similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin. So for example, if Ethereum and Bitcoin are somewhat just consolidating sideways, expect something similar for Solana. But obviously, Bitcoin in most cases is the market leader, especially as of recently. Usually, if Bitcoin is a major move, a lot of the rest of the crypto market follows Bitcoin. So as I said earlier in the video for Bitcoin, if we break below this area of support, which has not happened, but if we confirm a break below this area of support here on the daily Bitcoin price chart, that can most likely bring down a lot of the crypto market with it. So keep that in mind. Definitely pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of the altcoins as well. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, we're still playing out this massive bearish divergence with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. We've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence, which means ultimately expect either a larger pullback or just lacking bullish momentum, a larger slowdown in the price of XRP playing out over a period of months. And that's exactly what I've been saying every day since months ago now on the channel, since the price was actually well above $3, around $3.40 onwards. I've been warning about this larger pullback since around end of July, early August. You can even watch my videos that are public on the channel back then and see me warning about this massive bearish divergence, telling you about this major pullback coming over the next few months. And so once again, this is still currently active on the price chart, which means continue to expect it to play out moving forward. And if we're taking a look at the somewhat shorter term here on the daily time frame, we just pretty much perfectly rejected from this retracement level, the 50% retracement level, which was also previous resistance back here, and that's sitting at around $2.64. So basically around $2.60 to $2.70, we have a lot of important resistance around there. And if the price of XRP were to actually confirm a breakout back above that area, in that situation, expect a bit more resistance based on these previous lows at the candle closes at around $2.74, more resistance at around $2.88, and major resistance at close to $3.10. And as for supports, the price of XRP is potentially just about to retest this important area of support here, which we perfectly bounced from in terms of the daily candle closes here, and that's sitting in between around $2.33 to $2.40. So roughly $2.30 to $2.40 as a crucial area of support, which is the golden pocket area of support, the most important Fibonacci area. And if the price of XRP actually confirms, for example, a daily candle close below around $2.30, obviously, once again, that has not yet happened, but if that happens, in that situation, you expect a further move down towards close to $2, around $2.05 as the next major target and next major point of support. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for Chainlink as what I just said for XRP. Obviously, still playing out a bit of a bearish trend here, larger bearish price structure, forming lower highs and lower lows, which I've been saying on the channel for a long time. Obviously, during the bearish trend, we can see the occasional short-term pump or short-term bounce towards the upside along the way towards the downside. And so at least for now, that is still the situation when we're talking about the trend or the larger price structure here on the daily Chainlink price chart. And in terms of support and resistance to watch out for, still expect a lot of support at roughly 1730 to 1750 and more support in between around 1520 to 1560. And as for resistance, expect a lot of resistance in between around $19 to $20, really in between around $19.50 to $20 as an important area of resistance. And for now, it's likely that we could continue a bit more of a sideways consolidation in the shorter term over the coming days. So once again, that means both short-term bullish and short-term bearish price action, but not really seeing a massive recovery or a further crash. So kind of just remaining range bound for the time being is a very likely scenario, holding above these lows, but not really seeing a massive recovery towards the highs is ultimately what I'm saying here. But remember, that's talking about the shorter term in the coming days or the next week, that sort of time frame. If we're looking at the bigger picture, we're still within a bearish trend. So ultimately, it's likely that soon enough, maybe in a couple of weeks from now, for example, we could continue that bearish trend with another leg down. So keep that in mind. But once again, you can profit even during bearish price action using things like short positions, for example, to profit along the way towards the downside. And of course, you need to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of those trading opportunities. And once again, if you're using the links below the video to those exchanges, you can claim massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.